You're listening to Excellence Above Talent, a podcast where we have the hard conversations about the lives of men and what leads us to achieve greatness and suffer defeat. Hear from other men's journeys as well, as we all learn and grow together to become inspirations to ourselves and those around us. And now your host, Aaron Thomas.
What's up, my beautiful people? Aaron Thomas with Excellence Above Talent. I love life. I don't know why, because here lately my life has been a hot mess. Hot mess. And I still find myself happy. I still find myself believing in happiness, believing in love, believing in a better me. Even though there's a lot of things going on that I'm embarrassed about. I mean, not even gonna lie. Like there's some embarrassment, there's some guilt, there's a little shame, and I'm working on that because shame is such a negative thing to have in your life. You really can't grow or move if you're operating in shame. But I have a little shame. There's a lot of, self-doubt, because I have exposed myself. I have taken off my mask that I have been trying to wear, and I'm trying to become the best version of my true, authentic self. And there's a lot of people who would look down at me or others because they're tired of being fake. They're tired of hurting people. They're tired of acting a certain type of way in order to be liked, in order to be looked at as someone who has their stuff together. Newsflash, no one has their stuff together. If you're walking around and you think you have your stuff together, you are one decision away. You are one circumstance away from having your life completely tore up. It is crazy how people assume or look down on others because maybe they made choices in a moment that created a lot of chaos in their life. But don't make the assumption that your life is better because of it, because it's not. Let's just get that off my chest right now. So I have really been working on forgiving myself, because when I tried to commit suicide, there was a lot of unforgiveness in my heart. And because there was a lot of unforgiveness in my heart, I didn't feel good enough. I didn't feel worthy enough. I did not feel loved. I was looking for people to make me feel a certain type of way. I was looking for people to forgive me or to show me how to forgive. I was looking for validation. I was looking for self-worth and everything other than myself. I didn't forgive myself for where I was at in my life, for what I was doing. And I wasn't doing anything bad. It's just that I didn't like where I was at. I knew I wanted more, and I was stuck, or I felt stuck, and I was angry at myself. So when I picked up that gun and pulled the trigger and the gun didn't go off, I then felt like I'm a worthless loser because I can't even do this right. So there was a lot of negativity that was going on in my head when I attempted suicide. And this is one of the reasons why this podcast was started. It's not fake. It's so real. There's so many people walking around here with masks on, not forgiving themselves, walking in shame, allowing others to beat them up over things that they have done and they're trying to move on from. But people who don't want to allow you to move on from the things that you have done lets me know that they don't want to work on themselves. And so in order to not work on themselves, it's easier to look down and to try to crush someone who has done something that has created chaos and that are trying to fix it. Some people don't want you to fix it because if you fix it, then the spotlight gets shown off of you and it has to go somewhere. And who's next? They are. And so in order to keep that spotlight on you as much as possible, they try to make you out to be the monster that they think in their head that you are. And people are walking around allowing people to do that to them, to keep them in boxes and to hold them in boxes. And this podcast was created for a lot of different reasons. But one reason is, let's have this conversation. As a human being, you should not walk around here looking down on other people. You should not walk around this earth trying to be better than other people. You shouldn't walk around here on this earth trying to hurt people in order to make yourself look good. That makes you the weakest, vile, disgusting human being you can possibly be. It makes you so weak because you're not willing to look at yourself. Because it's easy to walk around here and look at everyone else and find their flaws and hold them to a different standard than you're holding yourself. You simply shouldn't do it. You should try to work on yourself to be the best that you can possibly be and help people out when you see them in need. Help people out when they are struggling. You don't look, you don't laugh, you don't talk about people, or at least you shouldn't. You should help that person out to your capability. This podcast was created so that people could understand that we all go through it. We might not all have suicidal thoughts or have tried to commit suicide, but a lot of us have. And I'm going to tell you one way that has really helped me understand and give myself grace and love myself more than at any point in time in my life than I do now. And it's self-forgiveness. I have done things that I'm not proud of. I have done things that have hurt the people in my life that I love. And I cannot take it back. That hurt, that trauma, that pain, it's there. There is no going back. There is a way to move forward. And for me, that was forgiving myself. And in order for me to forgive myself, the first thing I did was ask God for forgiveness. Because if I don't feel He has forgiven me, I will never feel forgiven. Because He is the ultimate forgiver. And I don't even have to ask because He forgives me anyway. But I ask God for forgiveness. I ask Him to work on my heart, to work on my mind, to fix the things that wasn't right, and to make me a better man. That was the first thing I did. And you might not be a Christian if you're listening to this podcast. You might serve another God. I serve Jesus Christ. You might serve somebody else, a higher power of the universe. What I did was ask for forgiveness from that higher power, my God. And then once I felt forgiven from Him, I tried to ask myself for forgiveness. And that was the toughest part because I felt so ashamed. It wasn't guilt. It was shame. And there's a difference between guilt and shame. Shame is you feel like you are that thing. So let's say I cheated, which I did. So let's say I cheated and I'm asking for forgiveness and I'm trying to do better and be better as a man. But I feel that shame. Every time I feel that shame, I feel that shame. My whole being, I am a horrible person. I shouldn't be alive. I don't deserve love. Like that's how I felt with shame in my heart. So it was hard to forgive myself, with that shame because there was no self-worth. I didn't feel enough. I didn't feel like I was a good person or a good man. Didn't feel like I was a good Christian. I let my nephews down. I talked a good game, but I let them down. And so as a person, I felt all of this. And it was hard to forgive myself because I felt that. But as the days went along and I started to slowly give myself grace and love myself more, I turn that shame into guilt. I feel guilty for the things that I did, but I am not the things that I did. Shame makes you the things that you did. Guilt just says, hey, you did those things, then let's find a way to be better so you don't have to do it again, or so that you don't do it again. In guilt, you behave in a way to where you regret the things that you did, but you don't let it hold you down. You don't let it put you in a box and beat you up. So once I allow guilt to come into my heart and to regret the things that I have done, I'm able to fix bad choices. And it's not overnight. It's a constant battle. It's a constant struggle. And I'm still constantly doing it to this day. And I'm going to constantly do it for the rest of my life. Fixing bad choices. Learning about why I do the things I do. And I'll tell you right now, in doing the work and trying to find who the best version of Aaron is, I did a lot of things because I was trying to wear a mask of everything was okay when it wasn't. I was looking for validation. I was looking for love. I was looking for where I felt worthy and enough. And a lot of times I found those things in a brief moment in alcohol and porn and sex. But once that moment was over, those things came back with a vengeance. And it just piled on and piled on and piled on. And at some point you will explode. No human is meant to carry that heavy burden or that heavy load. You will explode. You will explode because you're not who God has created you to be. You're trying to hide who God has created you to be. And at some point, God is like, enough is enough, my son. In most of the stories in the Bible, God was like, enough is enough. Moses and the burning bush, Jonah and the well, David and Goliath. Enough is enough, my son. Stop running from my calling and be who it is that I have called you to be. You are wonderfully and beautifully made. You don't have to hide from this world. You don't have to hide from people who don't even freaking like you. You're hiding from people who don't even like you in order for them to assume, or in order for you to make them think that they like you. You will become something that you're not. You will leave your God-given talent and your God-given skills. You will diminish them in order for people who don't like you to like you. And then you wonder why you're making these bad choices. You wonder why you're making these bad decisions. You wonder why your life is the way it is. And instead of dealing with it and trying to figure out what you need to do to be better, you're looking around to see who you can blame. And as a man, the first person you're blaming is your wife, your kids, your job, your family, the way your mom treated you. You'll find someone to blame, but you never look in the mirror and tell yourself to get it together. And once you do that, you look in that mirror and you see who you are, and you begin to slowly take off the mask that you have been wearing all of your life to find that beautiful human being that God created you to be. That person whose smile lights up the room and whose energy everyone wants to be around. You take off those masks by dealing with the ugly, by dealing with the past pains and trauma. And as an Army veteran, I have PTSD, diagnosed each and every day. I wake up mentally in pain. But when I wake up every day, I know that I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight, and I'm going to fight until I cannot fight anymore. And that's hopefully when I'm old. It is called I think it's the meaning of life. I'll have to figure it. I think it's the meaning of life. And he talks about the Holocaust and how he was in a concentration camp. And that he could tell when someone wasn't going to make it because you saw the fight that was lost in their eyes. And then the next day, they would be dead. But he said the reason why he got out of that concentration camp was because mentally he kept visioning him leaving. He kept seeing him run to his wife and hug his wife. He saw all the good in his mind, and that kept him from dying of heartbreak in a concentration camp. It kept him motivated to keep pushing forward in life. So he was in a concentration camp where dying was an hourly thing. But mentally, they had no power over him because he was going to go out on his terms and his terms only. And I'm telling you to tell you this. People will put you in a box and try to have power over you, to have leverage over you. And the only thing they control is that box. You're not even in that box. They think you are. You're over here. You're the new person that you're trying to become. And they have this box, and they think you're in this box. But no one's in that box because mentally, you're not allowing people to put you in a box. I'm at a place in my life where I feel peace. I feel loved. And it's not a human love or a human peace. This is only peace that comes from giving up what I think I should do, giving up what I think I know, and allowing God to be the leader. I'm not saying it's easy, because there are days where I try to get the reins again, and I'll mess up, and I realize, all right, I give it back, I promise. I was just kidding. I was just playing. I was just saying if you still love me or not. There are days where I try to, but for majority of those days, I know that God is good. I know that he loves me. I know that I shouldn't be on this earth. I should have died multiple times, but I'm here. There's a calling. There is something that he wants me to accomplish. I don't want unforgiveness and shame and bad choices and letting people put me in boxes keep me from ultimately living my best life in Jesus Christ. Because all those things are powerless. They have no power unless you give them power. At some point, I stopped giving them power. The shame, the unforgiveness, the people-pleasing, and I just transfer it to God. Jesus, you have this power. You have my power. The little of it that I do have, use it the way you see fit. Now, do I have days where there's negativity and doubt? For sure. But those days are becoming smaller and smaller compared to what they used to be a couple of months ago. And when I walk by the mirror, I love the person I see. I wink at him every time I see him. I think he's cute, which is me. I'm cute, just in case someone didn't understand that. When I walk by the mirror, the person I see is likable, is loved, is worthy, is enough. So I'm not trying to prove who I am to anyone. I don't have a mask on. When you try to prove or hide or defend who you are to people, it's because you have a mask on. And they might be calling it out. And you're like, no, I have to hide behind this. So you defend it with your life. What you see is what you get. If you don't like it, I can't help you. I don't have to prove to you that I'm a good person. If you see it, you see it. If you don't, you don't. That's the beauty of not wearing a mask. You don't have to hide who you are. People see, and if they like it, they'll mess with you. Their energy, your vibe. And if they don't, you won't vibe. And that's okay. You can't vibe with everybody. But I know, for me in my life, to feel how I feel now, I have to ask God for forgiveness. I have to forgive myself. I have to be accountable for the things that I did. I had to get rid of all the shame because what I did wasn't me. And I couldn't allow what I did to be the essence of who I was as a person. I feel guilty. I regret. There is remorse. You learn from it. You find ways to be better, and then you grow. I'm trying to be 1% better every single day I'm alive. 1% better. That is my goal. So, if anyone hasn't told you today that they love you, let me be the first to say I love you. You're awesome. You're amazing. You deserve the best that this world has to offer. Do not give up. Do not quit. Because the world doesn't get easier. You just get stronger. Y'all have a phenomenal weekend. Be safe. Lift your head up and believe and know that you are a badass. That you are an amazing human being. And there is no box in this world that can stop you from being the best that you can possibly be. Y'all have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And for daily, motivational, and up-to-date content, follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Excellence Above Talent. And remember, keep moving forward, never give up, and you are never alone in this battle. We'll see you next time.